Bred to haul heavy loads across Arctic regions in sub-zero temperatures, the husky is one of the strongest and most resilient of all dogs. It was brought to Britain by the early polar explorers, whose pioneering spirit is kept alive by today's sled dog enthusiasts, as we'll see later when we join them on the trail. The first huskies to arrive in this country came in the 1890s, just before the quarantine laws were introduced in 1901. Now, quarantine can be a lonesome time for a sociable dog pining for the hustle and bustle of family life. 6 months in solitary is the price these globetrotters pay to keep Britain free of rabies. But as far as Jonathan Shaw is concerned, it's a necessary sacrifice.
The main vector of rabies is by fox, and that's how it has come across Europe and getting closer and closer to Britain. If it should come into Britain, and let us say someone was foolish enough to smuggle a rabid dog into London, Britain has got the largest urban fox population in Europe. That dog gets loose, it bites a cat, it gets a fox. You're going to have absolute mayhem.
It costs the owners between £700 and £900 to keep a dog in quarantine. Then there's the added expense of commuting long distances to keep in touch. But that brings its own reward if the joyous greetings at visiting time are anything to go by. Quarantine can be a traumatic experience for owners and pets alike. So Jonathan Shaw and his wife Liz, who run the Animal Inn near Deal in Kent, have designed a kennel that provides the nearest thing to home regulations will allow. It still has the 10-foot fences, double gates and tight security, but it's built entirely in the round to give the dogs maximum social contact.
You must remember that a dog is a companion animal. They're not loners. They need people, they need other dogs. They're also pack animals. So by associating more with people, more with other dogs, it can help lower the stress of being kennelled, and there is a stress involved, there's no doubt about it. And this way we can keep them happier, they're going to eat better, they're going to keep conditioned better, and when they come to go home, they'll be happy, outward-going dogs, much as we hoped they were when they first came in.
It would have been much cheaper to have built in the normal way of the long corridor kennel, plus the fact we would have got more kennels into the same space. But that's not what we wanted. We were building for the dogs. We wanted the best for the dogs, not the cheapest method. And we believe this is it.
The animals are in for 6 months, and in that 6 months they're not allowed out of their kennel or their run at all. With the circular design, it means that every time we go in to feed or clean, owners come to visit their dogs, prospective customers come to look around. They're seen by all the dogs, and it gives them 15, 25 times more human and dog socialisation. And by conceiving the circular design, we've given them, as it were, a confinement without the solitary.
With a husband who's worked all over the world in the oil industry, Anne Whidden had plenty of experience of other quarantine kennels before she brought her boxer Cleo here.
I think they've really gone to a lot of trouble to make this 6 months comfortable and safe and pleasant for the owners too, because it's very upsetting to sort of lay out a load of money and watch your dog getting into a horrible condition, and I think it's very distressing, it can be, but this time, I mean, it's just totally different.
When Jonathan and Liz took over the Animal Inn, they inherited a conventional boarding kennels too. The premises have yet to be modernised, but they're clean and comfortable, and the hanging baskets and cheerful murals say a lot about the Shaws' attitude to their work. You'd think they'd be glad to see the back of dogs when they're off duty, but not a bit of it. Dogs are their hobby too. They breed and show Italian Spinonis.
They are still a rare breed in this country. I would think there are around 500 of them throughout Britain. They're an all-round gun dog, which means they hunt, point and retrieve. They are so gentle and soft. They are a very active dog, and when we're out for walks, they're sort of full of life and great fun. In the house, they're very gentle and very, I mean, we can have 3 Spinonis in the sitting room and hardly be aware they're there. They also have super faces. You've just got to look at a Spinoni face and you fall in love with them, really.
Having such an affection for their own dogs, the Shaws are particularly sensitive to the feelings of their quarantine boarders while they're in isolation. A daily visit from the vet may be enough to keep them all in peak physical condition, but you have to look after the inner dog too. So they try to provide as much individual fuss and attention as they can. The regular grooming session is not only a matter of health, it's all about human contact too.
We feed all the dogs twice a day because we feel that when they're in quarantine, it's a very long time. They have to have highlights of the day, and I think for dogs, feeding time is the highlight of the day. So they get 2 smaller meals a day rather than 1 huge meal.
In the runs, we've got a material called mesh light. This is an opaque material, and it means that the dogs can make out the body shape of the neighbouring dog, but they can't get eye-to-eye contact. This is very important, so that if you've got 2 dogs that might wind each other up, thereby creating greater stress, you obviate this particular problem with this material. The bed area has its own heated bed. These are thermostatically controlled heated beds geared down to 24 volts. Obviously, most dogs in the home are used to cables running around the place, but in quarantine for 6 months, they might become bored, and rather than face the potential problem of them chewing a live cable, we've got it down to 24 volts.
And don't think the cassette player is there to entertain the staff. The tapes they play here will never reach the top 10. But they do keep the dogs in touch with the familiar sounds of home.
We are their host family when they're here, and we set aside specific time to play with them, to particularly give them the time which they would normally get at home. So when they do go home, it's not really such a major transition.
How upsetting is it for you and the family to leave the dogs behind?
Well, I think it is, because you're used to having them around. But, I mean, the time is going quickly. I mean, Cleo has already done 4 weeks, which seems to have gone quickly, and then she's got, what is it, another 20-odd weeks. I think it will probably go fairly quickly. We'll come and see her probably every week if we can manage it.
I think one must remember that dogs don't have a sense of time in the same way that we do. So they've got no concept of whether it's a month or 6 months or a day in terms of the duration that they're here.
But the staff have, and over a period of 6 months, they can get very attached to their charges.
One of the nice things is with one of the dogs which is in quarantine at the moment, comes out of quarantine next week. The owners aren't quite ready to have it home. They still have to get some fencing up. That dog is coming into our boarding side for a week. And everyone's absolutely delighted because they're going to be able to take this dog out for walks. After seeing it in quarantine, we can now actually take it out in the woods and see it enjoying itself.
So the day of release is a wonderful day for the dog and the owner. But it does leave its mark on the staff.
What the games people play now, every night and every day now, never meaning what they say now, never saying what they mean, while they while away the hours in their ivory tower.
For puzzles, prizes, stories and fun, take a break. The new weekly magazine that lets you take a break.
Talking about you and me, and the games people play now.
Still only 10p.
I'm not in at the moment, but if you wish to leave a message after the tone, I'll get back to you.
New Golden Wonder Crisps. So much crisper and so much tastier than ever before. You must have a nubber. Please yourselves. Golden Wonder's best ever crisps.
Plaque. You don't notice it, but it's there. Like this. This will get rid of a lot of it. But for extra protection, reach for new Reach mouthwash with an active ingredient which reduces the formation of plaque. Reach Anti-Plaque Mouthwash from Johnson & Johnson.
Maybe it's the ice blue eye, perhaps the powerful, aggressive stance. It's certainly that eerie, desperate howl that sets the husky apart from the rest of the canine kingdom. Friend and occasional fodder for the likes of Captain Scott, the surprisingly good-natured husky is now finding its way into more and more easy-going homes with people like Vince and Juliet Trent in more temperate climates, like here in Somerset.
We'd only gone to look originally, and Vince said, well, he said, you know, there's no way we can afford to buy it. We just can't afford to buy it. And I said, well, I don't care, I'm having the dog, and that's it. So I cashed in my life assurance to you know, pay for the dog.
The Siberian Husky is a dog who doesn't forget his roots. His favourite treat is fish, frozen in lumps.
It does work out very expensive, but we go without other things, you know. We haven't got a flash new car or video, colour telly, anything like that, you know. We just make do with the basics, and all the money goes on the dogs. And, I mean, we would like to buy a sled. We haven't got our sled yet. That's hopefully the next thing we'll be getting.
The husky has been a working dog for centuries. His broad feet were good for snow, his power and enthusiasm ideal. His pack instincts sorted out a natural team leader. For a dog of his size, the husky has a very modest appetite. The Trents feed around ½ a pound of meat a day. But its appetite for work is enormous. All husky owners dream of buying a sledge and mushing down to the trading post of a weekend. Unfortunately, few can afford a sledge, and anyway, there's hardly ever any snow. So, in the 70s, husky people developed a sport of their own to exercise their animals. And Juliet and her husband Vince meet their friends to train with the blessing of the Forestry Commission. It becomes a family day out. Why do you sink that much time into it?
Oh, we just love the dogs, you know, and all that goes with it. It's great fun. I think because the dogs have got so much to give back, they sort of, you know, you feel a lot more involved with them. They're living things, aren't they? It's a bit different to a boat, isn't it?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, hike!
It's pretty exhilarating. It's in a lot of ways it's like riding a motorbike. It's that obviously you can't lean the rig on the corners, but you know, as far as the experience, it's very similar.
Hike on. Go on then. Hike on. Go on then.
The only control that you have over the dogs is by word of mouth. You try and teach them what's left and right. Hike on, straight ahead. Whoa, if you're lucky.
Go on, lads. Hike on. Go on, Tor. Hike on.
We try and keep the children involved as well. They put the bowls out and pour the milky water into the bowls for the dogs, which they need that to cool themselves down.
Oh, Sash, you silly dog.
It's race day. Most winter weekends, husky teams will be getting together somewhere. Today, it's the Ringwood Forest in Hampshire.
And then there's a left turn which goes onto the grass, which is coming down here. This is grass all the way down here.
Chris and Caroline Kisco have plotted a 2-mile course through the wood, and 30 outfits from as far afield as Lincolnshire have come for a bash.
But it's fairly obvious. The bibs. Fred's already had his. Then we've got Mike. Sally. I think you only have to attend a race to start realising why people get so hyped up over it. The first thing that happens is somebody goes out and buys themselves one husky, and they come along to one race, and suddenly they want a team. We've all built up over the years into sort of more and more dogs and bigger teams and so on, but it's the excitement.
Alone, bouncing along the forest tracks, every musher dreams of the great North American races, like the 1,100-mile Iditarod through deep frozen Alaska. Hampshire is about as close as most will get. Don't think, though, that there's any lack of dedication. The best teams arrive with 20, maybe 30 huskies in their own van. Sally Leach pioneered British racing in the 1970s.
It was actually the development of the two-dog class that really made it take off, because that sort of opened it up to people that could only manage to keep 2 dogs, and you can keep 2 dogs in a much sort of smaller house, and they're more manageable. And then those 2-dog people got hooked and started getting more dogs, so they moved up, and it sort of grew like that, really.
Now it's not uncommon to find husky owners who've moved house to be near a suitable woodland. And at every meeting, there'll be someone who's moving from the show world into the muck and bullets of the husky trail.
Samantha, is it true that this is actually your first event?
It is, yeah.
And how many times have you ridden a rig before?
Twice. And the dogs have been in the harness once before.
Are you entirely confident this is the right way of spending a Saturday afternoon?
Not really, no. I don't want any laughing when I go off.
Samantha's Siberian Huskies, Laska and Rosha, have learnt the rough idea that hike means go, G means right, and haw means left. She hopes they've also absorbed whoa. No such worry for Jenny Hanford, a retired occupational therapist from Sussex. She discovered husky racing on holiday in Alaska and brought one back.
And it was then that I discovered that there were more than one type of sled dog. That there's the Siberian, the Eskimo, the Malamute, and the Alaskan, and that they are all bred in different parts of the Arctic for different purposes. So you have your Malamute, who's like the cart horse of the sled dog breeds, built for heavy freighting and deep snow conditions, and originates from the Kotzebue area, which is northwest Alaska. Then you have the Siberian Husky, which is the lightweight dog bred for carrying lightweight quickly, and they used them, I understand, for delivering mail in Alaska right up to 1968.
So that takes us on to the Eskimo dog, which is very rare in this country.
The Eskimo dog is very rare, I think because it's the most difficult one to handle. They're very obstinate and they're very difficult, but they're probably the first type to reach this country because they came from originally Greenland and northern Canada. So most of the early British explorers brought 1 or 2 dogs back, but they were so difficult to handle that they never became popular. And I don't think they will, because they're very keen hunters, so it's a neighbour's cat or livestock. So you can only exercise them on the lead or by working them. And they also love digging holes, which isn't very good for the garden.
So how was that?
It was good, apart from the one you saw. Just a problem I think comes up a lot when the line catches on the wheel and it all twists around. And it's difficult to get it untangled, of course, because the dogs start to go and everything else. But we got round anyway.
Any other difficulties? It was your first time round. What did you discover about what to do, what not to do?
Just the one dog. One dog isn't as enthusiastic as the other. She laid down a couple of times, decided she didn't really want to do it. But the other one just pulled her along and kept her going. But once she gets used to it, they've only done it twice. So.
And you're quite puffed out, aren't you?
I'm very, because I was wheeling most of the way because they kept stopping. But apart from that, it's a good first time.
Vince Trent's dogs, Sasha and Tora, have raced plenty of times, but today they're joined by a friend, Babish, who's come for a run out. Babish hasn't raced for years and, frankly, has forgotten what's expected. In the first half mile, Babish gets into a terrible tangle. Later in the forest, Vince is down to 2 dogs. Babish has been put on the lead and told to walk home with a race marshal. This wouldn't do in the Yukon, it wouldn't do at all. Here, though, on the British Husky circuit, any dog who doesn't enjoy the exercise is perfectly entitled to spectate, especially the Husky's more refined relative, the Samoyed. Each rig is equipped with a little bag to carry exhausted Huskies. Unfortunately, there isn't one big enough yet to take the driver.
Was this actually your first meeting?
Yes. Yes.
So what's the baptism of fire been like? Has it made you want to carry on with it? Or...
Oh, I think so, yeah. Yeah. Well, if you start at the bottom, you've got to get better and you can't get any worse.
The modern British Husky's hunting instinct is satisfied by a simple workout in the woods. For its far-flung relatives, 2 miles like this would be a gentle stroll. They're attractive, strong-minded creatures for keen dog owners. But be warned, they seldom come singly, and you, like the Trent family, could very easily become hooked on the Husky habit.
Go on, Jerry, go on. Good girl.